This ebook is brought to you by Agenvard 1998. Psychic Life of the Infant. Whereas Freud emphasized the first few years of life, Klein stressed the importance of the first 4 or 6 months. To her, infants do not begin life with a blank slate but with an inherited predisposition to reduce the anxiety they experience as a result of the conflict produced by the forces of the life instinct and the power of the death instinct. The infant's innate readiness to act or react presupposes the existence of phylogenetic endowment, a concept that Freud also accepted. Fantasies. One of Klein's basic assumptions is that the infant, even at birth, possesses an active fantasy life. These fantasies are psychic representations of unconscious ID instincts. They should not be confused with the conscious fantasies of older children and adults. When Klein wrote of the dynamic fantasy life of infants, she did not suggest that neonates could put thoughts into words. She simply meant that they possess unconscious images of good and bad. For example, a full stomach is good, an empty one is bad. Thus, Klein would say that infants who fall asleep while sucking on their fingers are fantasizing about having their mother's good breast inside themselves. Similarly, hungry infants who cry and kick their legs are fantasizing that they are kicking or destroying the bad breast. This idea of a good breast and a bad breast is comparable to Sullivan's notion of a good mother and a bad mother. As the infant matures, unconscious fantasies connected with the breast continue to exert an impact on psychic life, but newer ones emerge as well. These later unconscious fantasies are shaped by both reality and by inherited predispositions. One of these fantasies involves the Oedipus complex, or the child's wish to destroy one parent and sexually possess the other. Klein's notion of the Oedipus complex is discussed more fully in the sections titled Internalizations. Because these fantasies are unconscious, they can be contradictory. For example, a little boy can fantasize both beating his mother and having babies with her. Such fantasies spring partly from the boy's experiences with his mother and partly from universal predispositions to destroy the bad breast and to incorporate the good one. Objects. Klein agreed with Freud that humans have innate drives or instincts, including a death instinct. Drives, of course, must have some object. Thus, the hunger drive has the good breast as its object, the sex drive has a sexual organ as its object, and so on. Klein believed that from early infancy children relate to these external objects, both in fantasy and in reality. The earliest object relations are with the mother's breast, but very soon interest develops in the face and in the hands which attend to his needs and gratify them. In their active fantasy, infants introject, or take into their psychic structure, these external objects, including their father's penis, their mother's hands and face, and other body parts. Introjected objects are more than internal thoughts about external objects, they are fantasies of internalizing the object in concrete and physical terms. For example, children who have introjected their mother believe that she is constantly inside their own body. Klein's notion of internal objects suggests that these objects have a power of their own, comparable to Freud's concept of a superego, which assumes that the father's or mother's conscience is carried within the child.